all the answers. Hopefully I can at least shed some light or give some feedback or point you in the right direction. Because I know that it's the middle of the month. It's May, and, the business is picking up. Things are starting to happen, but, I want to help you guys make sure you're moving in the right direction. So that'll be kind of what tonight looks like. So with that being said, I'm going to first tackle one of the things that Erin had sent me earlier, and I told her I was going to send her a voice message on this, but actually Brian and I had she had sent me this message, and we were going on a walk, and I was telling him about it, and we were kind of chatting. But one of the things that she was talking about was constantly feeling like she has to always be on, the striving, the pushing herself all the time, because obviously this is a business. And the beauty of being an entrepreneur is that, and this is something I've learned in the 5 years I've been a coach, the beauty of owning your own business is that you always want to be working on it, in a sense of like, because for you, the fruit of what you put in, like the work that you put into it, you're going to see the fruit, right? Like it's a personal passion project for you. You directly see the fruit of that. If I go to work every day and I work my freaking butt off, I don't get paid any more than if I'm working my butt off, or if I'm like working well, but not really working my butt off. Do you guys know what I'm saying? But for this, you do see a greater fruit or outcome sometimes if you are putting in more time or quote unquote hustling more. And so it can be difficult sometimes, and you're just passionate about it. Like regardless of money or any of those things that come with this, like you're so passionate about what you're doing that it's hard sometimes to turn it off because you love what you do. And so you're constantly thinking about it. And so especially as an entrepreneur, this is true because you don't have quote unquote working hours, right? Like we don't go into an office every day from 9 to 5, clock out, come home, and we're done for the day, right? Like our businesses happen in those little power pockets. And especially as a mom, that can be really hard to navigate because you're kind of trying to work while the kids are doing something or, whatever. And so I just want to give a few tips of some things that I've learned along the way, and also point you guys to some resources, because this isn't the first time this is going to happen. This is going to be a constant everyday struggle. Like as much as I want to tell you that everything's going to be fixed and perfect, I do think that there's a breaking point in a sense of like where you start to figure out what works for you, and then it's easier. Like I feel like I'm in a season of it's easier, but I think the first thing is setting business hours. So I heard a really great call today, actually. Jenna Kutcher has an amazing podcast called the Goal Digger Podcast. I don't love everything she does, so let me first say that. But I do love some of the things that she does. She had a great podcast that I listened to today, and I want to tell you guys exactly which one it was. It was super interesting because it went into like your hormones. It was crazy, y'all. She had this lady on there that was talking about how you're like, I'm glad this is all women. But like certain weeks of like ovulation, the week after your period, like all these certain weeks are like certain weeks that you should be like, this one week is a particular week is like the week you should be batching your content because because of your hormones, you tend to be more creative. Like it's all this crazy stuff. It was really, really interesting. I have to go back and listen to it and like actually write it down. But it's episode number 256, and it's called This Productivity Hack Will Blow Your Mind. But she just had some really good, the girl who was on it, I think it was Kate something. She's a mom. Basically what happened with her is she was working 60 hours a week. Her and her husband owned their own business, and they had their first daughter. And she said she started working like 10 hours a week. And she was like, sure that their business was going to decline, but it actually didn't change at all. Like she said that she was only working 10 hours a week, and she was thinking, what in the world? Like I'm only working 10 hours a week. What was I doing before working 60 hours a week? But like my business is still growing. Like she couldn't figure it out. But what she started to figure out is that she had gotten more productive, and she wasn't doing the things that weren't business building activities she was getting rid of those things that were just kind of fillers, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things that she said to do, and I loved, was she said, you need to sit down and you need to make a list. On the right side, you need to make a list of the things that you have accomplished or you want to be accomplishing in your business. So let's say for us, it's like getting more challengers or more clients or more coaches or something like that. So she said, write out like the 3 big things, right, that are going to move your business forward. And then go to the left side and write out the things that the business building activities that you do every single day. Like, what are you doing every single day? And then draw a line to those things that directly correlate with the outcome that you want. And you've got to limit what you want those things to be, right? Like you can't have these things. And I know a lot of you don't necessarily have these crazy things that you're doing, but maybe you've just got to limit some things. Maybe you got to cut some stuff out. Maybe the newsletter has to go. Maybe the, extra group or helping this or helping with that, or maybe like you're spending time scheduling content out for something that is that group really even necessary? You know what I mean? Like, and I know a lot of you are in the process of figuring out what are those things, but like kind of at certain seasons of life, you have to get rid of some of the shiny stuff and you just got to do the stuff that's going to move your business forward. And, I'm a firm believer that the business activity tracker, those are the things that will move your business forward. I'm in a season of life where I'm going to tell you guys all I do is these things on this business tracker. That is all I do. I don't do anything more than this. But maybe having, one-on-ones with coaches or going live in my business builders page, but nothing that takes that much time. This is all I'm doing, and this is all I intend to do. And so you've got to kind of figure that out. But going back to setting business hours, I've already said to Brian that when I have this baby and I'm doing Beachbody full time, just because I'm doing Beachbody full time doesn't mean I'm going to be working it full time. You know what I'm saying? Like, Emmeline's going to Mother's Day out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I am only going to work Beachbody on Tuesdays and Thursdays while she's at Mother's Day out and during that time, and that's it. So will I have more time that I'm putting into it? Yes, but I'm also going to have a whole nother child. So it's going to be a little bit different because I'm not going to be going back to my full-time job after I have this baby. So yes, and on the paper, it looks like, oh, you're going to have way more time, but I'm really not going to. Could I be working all day while Emmeline's playing and I'm taking care of a baby? Yes. But I'm going to put business hours in place and be okay with whatever I get done. And you really just have to come to a place where you say, if your kid's not napping and, something like that, you've just got to figure something out. And you've got to say, okay, these are the times when I'm going to work my business. And you've got to communicate that with your spouse. You've got to say, hey, these are going to be my business hours. Monday nights, I'm going to stay up late. I'll stay up till 10 or whatever I need to, get a little less sleep that night so that I go into the week and I'm prepared. I've got a lot done. Everything's ready to go. Maybe, Mondays are a heavy load night. And then the rest of the nights, during the week, you don't work. Or, I know Patrice is in a season where she's homeschooling her son and he doesn't take a nap. So she has to almost work every night. But she has certain nights she doesn't, but she works like 3 nights a week or something. So you've got to figure out what works for you. And it's going to change, honestly, every 6 months, every 3 months, every day, right? Based on your season of life. And you've just got to have flexibility with that as a mom. And you can't get frustrated by it. I heard somebody say this on this podcast today too, which I also loved. There is no such thing as work-life balance. Like, I honestly hate it when people talk about work-life balance because, especially as an entrepreneur, you've just got to figure out how do you integrate the two? How do you be a really great mom? How do you be a really great business owner? I mean, I grew up going to my dad's business and working out there all the time. Like, my mom would take us out there. She'd have stuff to finish up. I never felt neglected by my parents. I mean, it taught me hard work. I watched them work really hard. Like, if your kid has to watch you for 30 or 45 minutes a day or an hour a day work on your business, they're going to be okay. Like, it's good for them to see their mom doing those things. Like, don't feel guilty about that. You're with them, another 5 hours in the day or whatever. Like, so I think you just have to figure out what that balance for you feels like. And for everyone, that's going to be different. For me, it's, I want to spend the mornings with Emmeline and, and then I don't feel bad about working in the afternoon for a couple of hours, because I've spent intentional time with her. And so, you just got to figure out what works best for you, but know that it's going to be a constant struggle because you do love what you do and you're passionate about it and you want to see it grow. But I do 110% believe, and I know this because I know that Michelle built the business the same way. You can build a really amazing business and only work it an hour or 2 or 3 a day, whatever you have that you can give. You can. She did it when she had small kids at home. She did it. I mean, you got to remember that. I mean, it's easy to look at someone like her now and be like, you've got 3 kids. They're older. They're in school. You're in the Millionaires Club. You're doing all these things. You're working a whole nother business. But like when she started this, she was working out in her bonus room with her kids running around at her feet too, you know? And so you just got to remind yourself that those people didn't start where they are today. And it is going to get easier because you're going to figure out what works for you. But hopefully that's helpful for everybody. If you're looking for resources, She Works His Way has an incredible productivity course that they offer. It's called the Productivity Academy. It does cost money, but I went through it. I think it's $100, so it is kind of pricey, but it was a game changer for me. And the thing that I love about the courses through She Works His Way is that they all have the same desire that we do, right? They want to be famous and having it at home first. But, you know, they want to also run businesses with integrity and they want to be obedient to the Lord. And so I love that because there's a lot of other resources I can tell you guys about, but they're not always going to have the same basis of where they're coming from, right? Like as somewhere like She Works His Way. And so She Works His Way just has so many incredible tools, but the Productivity Academy is amazing. I know that Patrice really, really struggled. I mean, she had a breaking point in this business, and she went through the Productivity Academy, and it was a game changer for her because she wasn't naturally someone who could kind of cut things off. She was more of a like natural workaholic, whereas I can like, you know, cut things off a little bit more. And so you just have to know your personality and know what you need. But I will say, I posted this last week on my Instagram. You cannot compare your business to someone else's if you're putting less time into it right now. And that's okay. Like that is the beauty of this business is that I may put it in 2 hours a day and my business may not grow as fast. Y'all, I have been a snail in this business. I've been in it for 5 years and I'm, you know, hopefully we're going to hit elite this year, but there's people who hit elite a year or 2 in. I mean, look at Patrice. She's on our team. She hit elite last year, 2 years into the business. I can't compare myself to someone else because number one, my journey, my story are different, but guess what? I have a full-time job. I can't expect to be producing the kind of results that someone who's working on this business full-time can produce. And I have to be okay with that and trust that God's got my business in the palm of his hand. And so trust God's speed, but also don't compare yourself to other people because you may just be in a different season of life than they are, and you don't know what they're walking through. You know, there's people in this business who are taking care of elderly family or whatever, and they have to pull back for a little bit, and they can't put in as much time, and they have to be okay with that. So also just be set free in that as well of like, you know, different seasons are going to bring different things. Let's see. I think I had one other question. If you have a question and you want to unmute yourself or if you want to drop it in the chat box, whichever one, and we can kind of work through them. Was there anything else with that one, Erin?
No, that was really helpful.
Oh, I don't think you're on mute or something.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay. No, that was helpful. I just really want to be successful and I love what I do every day. So I feel like I'm working all the time. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, wait, did I even like spend quality time with my kids because I was working so much? And I just don't want to feel like that every single day for the rest of my life. Okay. So it's just boundaries. And that's just something that I'll have to pray through and, you know, work with my schedule. But it's just a passion thing, I think, just because I like it so much, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I think that's really what it comes down to a lot of times, you know, especially for me. It's like, I'm so passionate about it. There's so many things I could do. And I don't know if I wrote, sorry, things start to run together at this point in my life. I don't know if I'd said this to y'all already, but like, I have a book of ideas. Like I have so many things I would love to do in my business, but like, I just have to be okay with not doing them right now. And, you know, like, it's easy to look at other people who are doing the things that I would like to be doing and be like, man, like if I was doing that, I would be more successful. But like, you just have to be okay with whatever that outcome is. And it's hard, you know, especially when you're somebody who's like, is a go-getter, you know? Anybody else have any questions they want to pop in the chat box? So another question I got from a girl today, and she's not on the call, so I'm just going to, I'm recording this, but then that way I can put it on YouTube, and she can see it. So let me go back to it. Lacey Leisure, who's on our team, she said that, she's a newer coach. She's been a coach for about 2 months. She said, I'm feeling a little discouraged. I've been staying really consistent, but I keep getting turned down because of the price, pointers, and or tips. I'm sure all new coaches go through this. And so I thought that was a really good one for us to talk about tonight. And I can record, again, it's a recording, so I can send this to her. And she and I are going to talk tomorrow as well. But I think that this is something that honestly, it is a hump you have to get over at some point in the business. And I think every coach on here will tell you that it's a barrier at a certain point. I typically say, about 3 months in. So like the first 3 months, your market tends to be more of a warm market. It's more of your family and your friends. That wasn't the case for me. This business was hard from day one for me because I didn't have a warm market to tap into. But for most people, they do have a warm market. And so month 3 is the month that it gets hard because all of a sudden you realize this business is not easy. This business is hard. This business is going to take a lot of work. Like you all of a sudden realize that you've got to treat this like a business. This isn't just something that's going to fall in your lap, right? Like you got to be a product of the product. You got to be staying active. You got to be staying on top of things. You've got to be reaching out to people. You've got to be being consistent. And I personally believe that our culture has a discipline and a consistency issue. We all want fast results. We all want quick fixes. That's why people go to diet pills. That's why people run to, they come to us and they want our help. And the next 2 months, they're somewhere else because it wasn't a quick enough fix for them. They were going to actually have to sweat and actually have to watch what they eat. Most people don't want to have to do that. Same thing is true in this business. This is a business. Like this is a business just like the Wendy's up the street. This is a business just like, the local gym that you have in your town. This is a business. Like there is nothing different about this. Yes, we get all the tools from Beachbody. We have amazing resources. Like we have an incredible network of support here that you don't get when you're just a plain old entrepreneur. But this is hard work. It is a business. And so that mindset is difficult because about 3 months in, you start to realize it's different than you thought it would be. You thought it was going to be easier. Here's a few things that have helped me overcome the price combat. And number one, it is belief that it's you actually believing that this isn't expensive. If you're on this call right now, or if you're listening and you believe that Beachbody is expensive, you will not be successful and you will continue to have issues with that question because you think it's expensive. Guys, this is not expensive. $160 for a year of Beachbody on Demand plus a month supply of Shakeology. Shakeology alone is $130 a month. So a challenge pack where you're literally getting it for half the price, that's $99 for a year of Beachbody on Demand. I live in a town that has every gym imaginable. We have Pure Barre where it's I think it's about $130 at this point a month. We have CrossFit that's about $150 a month. I mean, that's the cheapest CrossFit. Some CrossFits are $200. We've got this Hot Works place up the street now that's $140 a month. We've got Orange Theory that's $140 a month. We've got, literally, guys, I could go on. Hot Yoga is even $120 a month. And these people are only doing that workout. They don't even have like an array of different workouts to choose from. Like, do you know how many people pay that every month? A lot of people pay that every month. And even the cheapest gyms like a Planet Fitness is still $15 to $20 a person a month. They'll try to get you in there and they'll tell you, like, I know our Gold's Gym here, because we used to be members there, they would say, hey, it's only $10 a month. you get in there and you find out that that $10 is not group fitness. It's not the childcare. It's not like they get you in there and all you can use is the elliptical machines and the treadmills. Like that, even at $10 a month, times that times 12, that's $120 a month. Still more expensive than Beachbody On Demand. It is not expensive. If someone tells you it's too expensive, you need to say to them, hey, it's actually not. If you break that down and divide that by 12, that's about $8.75 a month. What are, maybe you guys don't, because I know I don't, but a lot of people do wake up every morning and stop by Dunkin' Donuts, or wake up every morning and stop by Starbucks. They're spending $5 a day on a coffee, but they won't spend $8.75 for a month on Beachbody. If they tell you they don't have the money right now, say, hey, that's fine. I'll be here in a few months. I run groups every month. You can save up and join us when the time's right. So if they can't pay it right up front, that $99, that's fine. But like, tell them, like, just be very kind about it. I think so much of it is how you approach them and just being kind about it and being like, hey, I totally understand finances being tight, save up. This is an amazing deal. And, I know that even most gyms are at least $10 to $15 a month. So this is still cheaper than going to the gym, not to mention the convenience of it. If you don't have to get in your car and drive across town. I mean, most people don't have a gym, within minutes of their house. And then the convenience of, most of us are working with moms or women who have busy schedules. And most people like that, they don't want to take an extra hour and a half of their day to go to the gym. By the time you drive there, drive home, all that stuff. So the biggest thing I would say is, number one, belief. Like, do you believe it's expensive? Because if you believe it's expensive, that customer is going to feel that. And like, you're not going to be convincing. And the second thing is having the information to combat it. There is an Instagram post that Caitlin Chow did in our team page. It breaks down all the different workout methods that most people do, and it compares Beachbody On Demand to them. It's an incredible resource if you do want to send it to people. But again, I think breaking it down to what that would be per month really helps. But honestly, I never face this question anymore, because probably the people who do think it just ghost me. But I can't tell you guys how many times I've had people come back who are like 2 or 3 months later, like, hey, Carolyn, okay, I'm ready to get started now, because I was confident. I believe in the stuff that we offer. Like, if I would have backed down and acted like, oh yeah, I know it's so expensive, like, tell me about it. If I would have started just, whatever, like riding the bicycle backwards, then they may have not come back, because they've been like, well, she doesn't even believe in her product. And I heard another good thing I heard on podcast today. Sorry guys, I'm like all about my podcast quiz tonight. But one of the things I hear people say is, well, I hate selling. I hate selling stuff. And it was Tony Robbins, who I'm not always a fan of, but he was on this podcast I was listening to. And he said, look around, look out the window. America was built off of people who sell things. Like every single thing was sold at some point. That's the beauty of America. That's the beauty of free enterprise, right? Like, I mean, even this jacket went through a farmer who grew it, who sold the stuff to, whatever, the process that goes into making this jacket. Like, we're all selling something that's not anything we should be ashamed of. You just have to be passionate about what you're selling. Even as a teacher, when you go in for an interview, you're selling yourself to try to get the job, right? Like, I don't care what you're in, what industry you're in, we all sell to a certain extent. And the beauty of that, though, is that you want to be passionate about what you're selling. If you're here as a coach and you're questioning, or you're hating the selling side of it, or the quote selling side of it, maybe it's just because you're not passionate enough about what you're doing. And so I think a lot of times that's what it comes back to, is like, are you truly passionate about this? Are you true? Like, what do you truly believe about Beachbody? If you truly believe this is a game changer for women, if you truly believe this coaching opportunity could change a woman's life or family's life, it will make this business so much more. And that's where you have to go back to your why of why are you doing this? I always tell people, if you are coming here as a coach and you're looking for quick money, I don't want you on my team. You want to know why? Because if you're chasing money, you will not be a successful coach. We are here to make an impact on people's lives. and it's about serving them. It's about impacting lives. That's what it's about. And if we are successful as an outcome because we're focused on that, cool, that's awesome. But that's not why we're here, right? My big why, I told you guys a few weeks ago, my why is wanting to help you guys be successful in this business. I mean, I love coach challengers. Like, that's fine. It's the bread and butter of our business. Like, I love helping people lose weight and get fit and healthy. But what I love more than anything is helping you guys achieve those goals. Like, that's what gets me fired up. That's what makes me want to check in with you guys, because I love working with passionate women who love what they're doing. And so that's my why. That's what fuels me to show up, not me making X, Y, Z money, or me being an elite team, or me this. If that's the outcome of it, cool, that's amazing. Thanks, God. But like, that's not what fuels me. And so if you're in a place where you're questioning all of these things, you need to go back and you need to sit down and you need to say, what is my why? Why am I here? And allow that to be the fuel. And if finances are a part of it, that's not bad, guys. That's not what I'm saying. If you're here and you're like, well, I need extra money for my family, that is totally valid, because we have to take care of our families and our kids. And that's part of the reason I'm here too. I wouldn't be showing up to do this if I didn't get paid. Let's just be real. I mean, if I'm going to take away from my family and I'm going to be doing something, working, I've got to make money, right? But like, that's not my why. You know what I'm saying? And so if you get back to that, that's going to help you overcome those no's, because you're so passionate about what you're talking about that it gives you a boost of confidence, right? And so I would say, if you're getting a lot of no's, first of all, talk to your coach about it, set up a one-on-one, try to figure out. It could be in the wording that you're presenting it. It could be, just pure your confidence on the other end. But I would say start with those two things and go from there. And if you need templates, we do have our Google Drive, the First Glory Sisters Google Drive, and in there are the emails that I send to people, literally the copy and paste of my emails I send to people. Use them. Those are there for you guys. If you have trouble finding it, it's in our team page, the link to it, but go to the search bar in our team page and type in the Google Drive and it should pop up. But that's exactly how I present it to everybody. So there's no secrets there. Any other questions? Okay, one other question I got the other day from someone was about coaching. Hey, Rose, I actually feel like this really attains to obtain. Is that even the right word? Whatever. You guys get what I'm trying to say. Pertains is the word I was trying to think of. I don't know where obtain came from. Pertains to you and what you said you were struggling with as well. So hopefully this will be helpful. So one of the questions I got from a girl the other day is like, I'm great recruiting challengers, but the coaching is the part where I'm struggling. This was me. This is me for 2 years of the business. And what I realized, finally it clicked, was I'm so sick of doing this by myself. Like, I felt like I was on an island. I didn't have an upline that poured in. I mean, I love my upline, but like, she's not active in the business. So we don't have team calls. I don't have like that kind of support. And so for me, I was tired of doing it by myself. I didn't have girls to be running with like you guys do. Right. And so I was like, if I want to grow this, if this is really something where I want to grow the impact, like, I can only help so many people, and I want to have people to do this with. Like, how much more fun would that be? And so I sat down and I said, okay, look, these are the kind of coach challengers I like working with, but what kind of coaches do I want to work with? And this has been refined over time, right? Like, now more than ever, I'm so picky about the type of people I want to work with. I mean, an optimistic person is high on the list, right? Because if all you see is negativity, it's going to be hard to be successful in this business. Someone who is ultimately, I mean, obviously they have the passion and the same vision for where they want to go with it, right? I want someone who can really integrate into our team and believes in the team passion and culture of like making Jesus famous and bringing him the glory. So all of these different things. And so what I did was I sat down and I wrote out, okay, this is the kind of coach I want. And one of the things that Patrice actually said in one of our trainings 2 years back in our team retreat, I loved the topic she did, but it was on recruiting. And she was a college athlete. And so in her head, recruiting is so much different than than recruiting is in our head. And she said, as a college athlete, like being recruited was really stinking cool. Like if you get a letter in the mail from like, you know, Duke University and they're like, hey, I want to recruit you to come play basketball at my college. I mean, like that's like a dream come true, right? So to be getting recruited by these schools was huge for her. And so she was talking about how she approaches recruiting coaches in the same way. She has been so successful in recruiting coaches. She's got some incredible coaches. She's got a lot of coaches. And the approach she takes is she goes to them and she says, hey, you're my dream coach. I want a coach like you on my team. Would you be interested in learning more about what I do? That's literally what she does. And she has signed up some of the most incredible coaches, people who are her people, because she goes to them and she's not scared. And she says, hey, look, you know, I want you on my team. I think you'd be incredible. I've watched your Instagram. I've watched what you do as a coach. And I would just love to have you on my team, or not as a coach, but like on your Instagram and what you're doing in your fitness or what you've done in the challenge group. And I would love to have you on my team. And so changing our mindset from, oh, I'm going to like offend them or hurt their feelings if I ask them if they want to be a coach, to no, like what God is doing here is really stinking cool, guys. Like it's really, really cool. And the fact that, I mean, there's a reason that network marketing is the number one, like business model. That's what I was looking for. Business model that's growing right now. It's the number one business model in the country. It really probably in the world. Michelle's the one who told me this, by the way. And because she's doing this whole thing on network marketing, but it's like because of the flexibility and the beauty of being able to be a mom who's at home or be a small business owner who has flexibility in their schedule. I mean, the fact that we can work this business in a few hours a day and then enjoy life, you know, like that's really stinking cool. And that's why this business model is growing, because more people want to do that. More people see that as an attractive thing in their life. They want to be able to be home with their kids or be able to go do things with their husband or their families or whatever. And so, you know, that's why it's really cool. And so not being ashamed of that. And I think one of the big things that you can do is constantly be on your Instagram stories. And, you know, that Instagram stories is really the best place to do it. But almost think, okay, my Instagram stories is a constant coach sneak peek. What are things, like make a list of all the ideas of things you can do on your Instagram stories to attract coaches. You know, maybe it's one thing I'm working on is I'm going to have all of the coaches on our team make a little clip video, like just maybe a minute long, 90 seconds, something like that. I'm going to try to keep them 90 seconds or 60 seconds. So there are 4 videos on an Insta story, but just sharing their story. Like, this is why I love coaching. And I'm going to do like a little series on my Instagram stories, but y'all can use them too, because we'll put them in the file folder and everybody can use them. But little things that you can do, how can you do those things in your business? You can do those things with your challengers as well to help grow your challenge groups. One of the things that I have noticed is that sharing other people's stories makes a big impact, because all of a sudden people are like, oh, she actually has coaches on her team, you know, or to be able to say, like, you guys can say it too. I went on Instagram today and said, hey, I said on Saturday I had some exciting news happening, and today I want to share it with you. I found out our team is still ranked in the top 100 on Friday. We were 75 last month. This month we're 99. We're going to bump up again next month. It's going to happen. But like, if we can end the year top 100 team out of 450,000 coaches, that is a huge marketing tool that we should all be using, every single one of you, to say, hey, yeah, guess what? I'm a part of a team that is ranked number 99 out of 450,000 plus coaches. And we're seeing tremendous growth in the business. Now is a time to join us. To be able to say those things to people, you know, on Instagram stories or in real life, in person. And I try to create scarcity, because it is true. As our team grows, I can't pour as much time into people. What I'm able to pour into, you know, an Aaron right now is going to be different than a new coach who just joined our team. It's just how it is, because as our team grows, I have less time. I'm a finite person with a finite amount of time. So as our team grows, it's going to be harder for me to pour into people. So now's the time to join us, while you can still get some time, one-on-one time of mentoring, because that's going to go away eventually. So use those tactics and those things to your advantage, and think about how you can use your Instagram stories to really showcase. My sisters laughed at me this weekend. They're like, yeah, Caroline Instagrams herself like working and says like coach life. I'm like, yeah, because I'm trying to show people that this is doable for them. Like, it's nothing fancy, like I'm not sitting over here in like cute clothes looking like a blogger at the Starbucks coffee shop. I'm more like look like a homeless person at the coffee shop working, So, I mean, but people, that's what people can relate to. People can relate to this fake looking stuff, right? Like, so show them that, like obviously you still got to make it pretty because it's Instagram and that's just how people are. But, show them what it looks like to really work this business. Because, I mean, it's not attainable to do that for most people. So hopefully that kind of helps. And then I would say too, with coaching, practice. I know it sounds silly, but videotape yourself doing it. Videotape yourself talking about coaching. Practice, practice, practice. The more you do talk about it with people, the more you get on the phone with people. Don't hide behind an email. Do not hide behind an email. Get on the phone with them. Cut to the chase. I put together a template of things you can do and questions you can ask. So if you want that, just let me know. Send me a message. But hear their story. Make it more about them than you. And share your story and share how you became a coach and how it's blessed and impact your life. You don't have to be making a ton of money for it to be blessed and impact your life. You could have helped one person. Or you could just have your own story and journey to share. I knew a girl who was killing it signing up coaches, and the only money she'd made was enough to buy a coffee table that was like $150. But she talked about that coffee table a lot. And she talked about how she'd wanted that thing for so long, and just like, and how it had blessed her life that she got to buy that coffee table. And she used that story and people loved it. And so you just never know. It can be little things. It doesn't have to be a car, or a quit job or something like that to be impactful to people. So one of my challengers told me that she was trying to decide whether to join me or another top 10 coach. And she chose me because my house wasn't $1 million house and she couldn't relate to her. So true. I actually had a call with a girl last week or the week before, and she's thinking about becoming a coach. She lives in the same town as Melanie Mitro, who, if you guys don't know who that is, she was #1 top coach for like 5 years in a row. They live in the same neighborhood. Like, I'm talking like a couple streets over from each other. And I guess like Melanie Mitro, she's like, I didn't even know Melanie Mitro was like #1. And she was like, she's like, nobody in our town even knows that she's like this top Beachbody coach, which is kind of hilarious. Cause you know how we all think like, oh, they're top coach. It's like they're a Beachbody celebrity, but nobody else knows who they are. But she was like, I was going to sign up with her. And then like, I started looking at her website and I contacted her, and then like, she like sent me this long email back, but you could tell it was like just copy and paste. And I asked about setting up a call, but she's like, well, I don't do that. You can watch this video. And it was like, she just didn't have time for her. And, for me, she filled out the form and I immediately texted her, not even like an email. I just texted her. I was like, hey girl, I saw your, application come through. I would love to hop on the phone. Do you have time tomorrow? So we hopped on the phone and she's still praying through it, but she was like, it's just so cool that you're like a normal person. And like, she's like, I want to be on a team that's growing, but I also don't want to be on a team where like, I'm not going to be able to ever talk to my coach. And I was like, exactly. So, I mean, use those things to your advantage. I love that, Erin, what you said. That's just hilarious because it's just so true. Awesome. Anything else? Hopefully this has been helpful. I feel like I'm a chatterbox tonight. Maybe I'm in that hormonal thing where it's like a talking one. You guys got to listen to that podcast. One of the like hormonal times of the month is like when you should take speaking engagements because you talk more. So maybe that's the one I'm in right now. Oh, so funny. Anybody? All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for being on. I hope this was helpful. Let me pray for y'all's week, and then we will hop off, and I'll throw this up on YouTube. Let you guys have 15 minutes of your life back. Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much for these incredible women. I am just so blessed and honored to know them and to serve alongside them, God. Lord, I just pray that whatever I said tonight, Lord, that you would use it, God, to encourage their hearts. Lord, that you would just help them to really focus on how you want to use them, how you want to use them to impact your kingdom, God. We don't all have to be top 10 coaches or, whatever, Lord. Like, we're here to serve you and to impact lives. And God, we want to be successful. And so I pray over the fruits of their labor, God. I pray over just the efforts that they put in, God. I pray this week alone that you would multiply their efforts and multiply their results, God, because I know that you can do it, God. But I pray that we would all just surrender the results, whatever that looks like, God. Lord, we want to be Success Club All-Stars, and we want to see success in this business, and we want to be an elite team. But God, we want to trust you most and foremost. And if that means a missed goal, like, so be it, God. We want to be in your will. And so, God, I pray that you would just use this business to impact lives, Lord. I pray that on the other side, we would just be able to celebrate what you're doing and how you're showing up in big ways this year, God. Lord, we love you and we praise you. And we just surrender it over, God. Help us to work hard. Give us fresh ideas this week. Help us to be creative. Help us to just put those boundaries in place that we need to. Lord, would you just give us guidance and wisdom in it all? And it's in your holy and precious name we pray. Amen. All right. Well, I'm going to snap a photo and then I'll let you guys hop off. I got to get me a picture of you beautiful ladies. So smile. All right. Well, y'all have a good night. Thanks for being on.